Yes, good morning to everyone listening to the sound of my voice. I am your host for today's Shakeup the program, Augustine Ferdinand. And of course, today being a Friday, Comrade Charles is also in studio with us. So we want to, of course, extend greetings to those of you who are joining us in the diaspora in the US of A and Canada, in the United Kingdom, and across the continent of Europe. Our students around the world, good morning, afternoon, or good night, depending on the respective time zones. Consul General Fitzhuggins and Honor Consul Noman Darren Grant and his family. Those of you who are tuned in and locked on via Star FM, and a special morning to the staff of Star. Also, special greetings to John Sec Minister Francis, Elson Garns and Tammy, Marva, Joy, Miss Richards, Miss Graves. Those of you who are also locked on via social media on the WEFM 99.9 Facebook page. Whether you are in the comfort of your homes or driving to and from your destination, a pleasant morning once again. Jalo, good to have you in studio. I know Pulses missed you last week. So I give you the opportunity to, of course, give your various shout-outs.
Yes, my brother. Thanks for having me again, Augustine. As usual, I always take it as a pleasure to be here and Star and WEFM. Wow, this is when you're juggling between two stations, that does happen. Eh? Yes, always a pleasure to be on a clean, fresh song. As usual, I'd just like to pick up retired Station Sergeant Jackson at Mespo, Caro and Noel at Sharps, Phil in the Market, Miss Duncan, Miss Kingston Park, Miss Murphy, Monica, Bristol, Uncle Sam, Sister Jacobs, Bethel, Duran Chang, Mrs. Jack and Lavon, my two great neighbors at Green Hill, Charge Up Mason, and not forgetting our friend Step In. As usual, it's an interactive program. You just call, keep it clean, and we'll take it from there.
Yes. Well, like I said, I had to go to the wharf this morning to send down some supplies to the Grenadines. And trust me, it's crazy.
Crazy all over town. Even the Solidarity Car Park is full.
Yeah. It's crazy, man. It's crazy. Actually, on my way down, I saw Kingsley on his way up. Of course, hustling to get that dollar as well at the terminal, because many tourists, many tour operators and taxi operators trying to get in on that dollar that is coming into St. Vincent and the Grenadines. It's really a bumper tourist season. Yes. I think by now, anyone looking and observing would see that. But before we go into all of that discussion, Charlie, I just want to say, given that Friday we usually wrap up the week, Sunday, of course, the Labour Party, we had our luncheon.
Yes.
It was magnificent.
As always.
It was magnificent. I think this one really blew many away. And for those who, are saying that, the party is dwindling.
Yes.
When you look at what Sunday, and I will tell you, really and truly, we started disseminating the information on Wednesday, more or less.
It was rather late.
Wednesday.
Yes, because when we have smorgasbord, it's always early. Yes.
Yes. I mean, when persons saw the amount of vehicles and the line, I can tell you it was minutes to 4. And many persons were all the way down to the steps waiting.
Yes.
And that was minutes to 4.
Yeah.
Many comrades came out, many young people came out and support the party, support what we had. Gensec was there, and other members of the Central Executive, including Prime Minister himself. And comrades basically came together. Normally we have something for December, we didn't. And we didn't have anything for October either. So many comrades came out in the numbers, show support, show solidarity for the party, support what we had. Um, Parking was was difficult to get because even where behind the bus stop,
Yes, yes.
persons had to park.
And road to my
And
village.
yeah,
Yes,
yeah, yeah, and the road going up to Murray's village. So it was really a wonderful event. I am happy many persons came. They enjoy, of course. No one expect anything less when it comes to the food.
Correct, correct.
I had to try and discipline myself. So I didn't take any rice, no nothing, just pie and some greens. But I make sure fill it up with half.
Well,
I had to. I had to.
uh,
You
well,
know.
the good thing about it, Claudia, is that it was a Sunday, and
Yes,
the
yes,
traffic is
yes,
not as real, flowing as
yes,
frequent
yes,
as
yes,
through the week.
yes,
So the
yes.
parking, that those who park on the sides of the road and so on, they had no problems there and so on.
Indeed, indeed. So yeah, the party is very much alive and well, stronger than ever.
Yeah.
I know there are many persons who abroad wish they were there, but of course we have many more things to come. Some persons say, well, maybe that is why NDP quiet and they gone back to the drawing board. I don't know. More than likely, someone may have passed by and saw the crowd and all the vehicles and say, boy, gee, fifth term and it's stronger than ever, boy. We have to go back to the drawing board
I tell you.
and figure out what next.
Yes, 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 yes.
But I really and truly again want to thank everyone who came out and support all the comrades. Also Rosetta and her team who organized the office,
Yeah.
Gensec also for a wonderful initiative that pulled off. Again, wrapping up the week, we see that the long haul road. I know persons sometimes now were complaining, saying that for bypass road, that some work needed to be done. I always say that we can't really expect Braxa. There's over about 150 square miles of main road in the country. And I don't think you really expect Braxa to be all over at once. Of course, roads are being done based on priority. And clearly, while there are many roads slated to be done, you have to do one at a time.
Exactly.
I don't think anyone can say Braxa isn't doing anything. Braxa is very active.
Very.
I know even of recent later last year, you had Braxa doing significant amount of work in capital city Kingston. I know the road up in Green Hill, again, some persons complain about that. That is going up to Fenton where Butte and them live up there. Braxa also went up there, did some work. Also, I know late last year as well, Braxa did some work from Block 2000, go all the way to the entrance of Sharp in terms of patching and the like. And there are many other areas in Western George, Johannesville area. Braxa also did some significant amount of work. For persons living in Fair Hall, I know the Minister of Finance stated that road is to be done this year, Upper Fair Hall. Also, for persons who are wondering about Mesopotamia, that's also done for priority this year. One of the things, and Prime Minister Gonzalez said it Sunday on Issues at Hand program, and it's something he normally says when topics such as this come up, is that he prefers to fill the pothole in a child's head, than on the road. I know there are many persons who would agree with that. And there are some who will say, well, I really don't care. I just want the road done. But if you have money, if you have limited amount of money available, and you have to choose between educating your child and getting a road fixed, I'm quite sure many persons would choose the former in educating that child.
Most definitely.
And that is essentially what the Prime Minister is saying. We don't have significant amount of resources. Government always have to prioritize. There are many major roads that we do some patching here and there, or we do total resurfacing. But at the end of the day, we've seen 940 bursaries, we've seen 74 scholarships, we've seen 54 disadvantaged student loans. We've seen significant amount of monies invested into education, including the rehabilitation and renovation of schools. We see Girls High, there's still significant amount of work being done. We see there's work to be done on Thomas Saunders. So there's even at Beckwith, there's work going on the community high school in Union Island, the Mary Hutchinson School as well. There's work going on there. So clearly, in terms of government priority, yes, the roads, we know there's some work to be done. We are doing some work as well in terms of whether minor or major repairs. But at the end of the day, we have to put our children first and foremost because they're the future of the country. So when the Prime Minister says that, for him and the government, it is better, he prefers to basically fill the pothole in a child's head, as priority over roads. Then I think, one really and truly, who believes that we have a country to build, and to do so, we have to empower future generation or future workers and leaders, would not really take an issue to that. The most important part is while we're doing that, we're also looking at ways and means how we fix road. And the government, of course, with budget 2023, we have over 22 thereabout plus $1 million for major road work. Over the 3 years, you have over $50 million slated towards road work, and that's a significant amount of money. One of the things I always say, Charlo, there will always be road issues.
Don't doubt that.
Yeah, I always say that there will always be issues putting into roads. And that is why I can really align myself with what the Prime Minister said, because at the end of the day, there are many opportunities that are available now that you may not always get them. Yeah. And therefore, when you are able to give those opportunities and get those opportunities in getting an education or in terms of skills training, you take that opportunity. But at the end of the day, roads will always be an issue. It will always be an issue, and most important part is not like the government is saying, well, we can't do nothing about it. I remember once upon a time in Barbados, the former Prime Minister of Barbados, Honorable Frondell Stewart, he said that those, when we're talking about potholes, he said those are minor inconveniences of life. We're not saying that. We're not saying that at all. We are basically telling you that, look, yes, we know that there are significant amount of road work to be done, especially on minor roads in particular. And these are the X amount of monies that we are allocated towards significant road work for this year, and we are on top of things. But in the meantime, we are also prioritizing the education of our children. So that on road issue, and on top of that, I listened to a particular discussion this morning on a particular station, a particular program. Of course, many persons know that the bridges, Overland and Noel,
yes,
that basically they're completed. And I heard a statement to the effect that the government is waiting to have a ceremony so that persons can drive on two bridges. Well, the thing is, when you complete, especially a Bailey Bridge, you're not talking about a structure. That you have to wait for that structure, especially Bailey Bridges, to settle.
Correct.
But I don't know. There are some persons who speak with a great level of ignorance and stupidity. I remember when Hans hosted the Shakeup program, he always started out with a quote from Martin Luther King about ignorance and stupidity.
Yes.
Consensus, ignorance and stupidity. There are some persons who they drown themselves in sheer ignorance and stupidity. I'm like, look, and even the Minister of the Deputy Prime Minister, who is also the Minister of Transport and Works, stated that you have to wait a while for these structures to settle. Yeah, but clearly, there are those who, I don't know, for whatever reason, who are saying, well, the government waiting to have a ceremony before buses can drive on them. I mean, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. The most important part
They've been
is
completed.
that
Yes.
they're completed,
Yes.
and more than likely by this month, buses would be able to drive on these temporary bridges. And this is another thing we have to remind us: they are temporary bridges, you know, and I know there are some persons who think they're permanent, but they're temporary bridges because we actually have significant amount of work in terms of building bridge.
Correct.
Building bridges in those two areas. So that's also took place this week. I don't know if you want to say anything on that.
Not really. I had the opportunity
particular.
to visit Overland 2 Sundays ago. I went to visit a friend of mine out there, and I had a good look at the bridge. I didn't go down to Noel,
Okay.
but I stayed at Overland, and I was totally impressed. And I am no engineer really, but I was totally impressed with what I've seen. Yeah.
Yeah, but yes. I know there are those who said, you know, who would have wanted them to be completed in December, but as people always say, as the older folks always say, horrible don't build goodness.
Okay.
And so we had to make sure that everything is in order, raise the elevation of the structures, so that in the event of any major or torrential rainfall, and you know, in that area, you still have this putting into debris
and lahars and so
lahars,
right.
etc., that the bridges themselves can stand in place. So that also topical for this morning. Charlo, I listened again. I normally tune in on various programs, but yesterday I heard the MP for East Kingston, Honorable Fitzbramble, called in on a program. They were discussing, the program was discussing carnival.
Yes.
You know, some things that they think CDC can do for carnival in building the brand. And to my amazement, the MP for East Kingston called in the program, and he said, I quote, "No one comes to St. Vincent and the Grenadines to listen calypso, mass, and pan."
He said that?
Yeah. I found it pretty strange. And a man, mind you, this is the reason why I even found it more strange. And I hope the young people at Sion Hill who plays pan take a note of what the MP said. I hope they really and truly take a note or took note of what Fitzbramble said. He said, no one comes to St. Vincent to listen calypso, watch mass, or the playing of the pan. And in my mind, not only did it go immediately on the young people who oftentimes, you know, when there's pan competition, there's serious rivalry between the various tents.
Most of his
exactly, his constituency is Sion Hill. You know,
you phone him and start.
Exactly.
Always at it.
So I said to myself, we're really saying that publicly, that the young people who plays pan in his constituency, that they're not worth listening to?
Yes. But that's exactly what he said.
You know, I found it so strange. And it even went further in my mind to ask, is it an NDP policy? Well, Susan, you could always say, like, but the record is there. I listened, I can even tell you the station, Hot 97 on AM Mayhem yesterday when Bramble called it. And I said to myself, is this now an NDP's position on policy in that if they're to be elected into office, that we won't see these components as part of Vincima's Carnival St. Vincent and Grenadines? You know, and then it brought me back to a time, and I had to ask that question because I remember he brought out two ideas. One toll booth at Sion Hill, and the other a dolphin marine park at Lower Bay, Sion Hill. And I remember the NDP wrote something to distance themselves from both ideas. So I am waiting to see whether the NDP will write something again to say that the ideas propelled or expounded by MP for East Kingston Fitzbramble, that really and truly no one coming to St. Vincent and Grenadines to listen pan calypso or event of UMass, whether they would distance themselves from that as well. Because I really found it very, very strange that such a statement would come from an MP and someone, mind you, who tries to show himself as the next big thing for the NDP. Really interesting. Really, really interesting. I don't know if what the persons think. Those of you who are listening, of course, you can call in 457-9997. That's 457-9997, or send us a WhatsApp message or call in on WhatsApp number 457-9994. You know, Charles, I had a discussion earlier this week with my partner Lester. Persons who would know Lester was once operating Club Envy, involved in the entertainment industry, and another brethren who also works closely with various components in TNT Carnival. Of course, now it's February as well. And we were actually discussing Carnival, and one of the things, you know, we were saying that with Vincima's St. Vincent, Vincima's the years before, etc., that it's a wonderful thing where you can still have these many different components, and not just because I know there are some persons who are expressing the view that really and truly where Vincima's need to go is these inclusive events. I know there are some who are proposing that view, and there are those who also expound the view that we need to do away, for them alone, we need to do away with Calypso, Kaiso, and these things that they believe or they see not generating money. And they don't look at the mandate in the preservation of culture.
Yes.
Yeah, but only look at it in terms of monetary value and terms of making profit.
Financial gains.
And maybe that's the line, because if he's saying Pan, Mass, and Calypso, maybe that's also the position. The MP for East Kingston is taking that let's do away with what is deemed to be unprofitable components of Vincima's and focus on what makes money. And therefore, to hell with the preservation of culture, of our own culture. And that is a line that is really interesting, coming again from an MP and someone who often brandishes himself as the next big thing in the NDP. I don't know how other persons feel about that. But clearly for me, we have to always do our best to preserve our culture. Yeah. There are many countries, Dominica, St. Kitts, they do whatever they can to preserve their culture. Even in St. Lucia, whether Creole Festival, this festival, this or that dance, they do whatever they can to preserve their own culture.
Culture is a big thing.
Yeah. And culture that is unique basically and truly shows your own identity.
Correct.
And if you're saying let us only focus on whether the wet fat, the color fat, a glow, which is all white or this or that or the other, that isn't culture. It isn't culture. So it's really interesting. When I listened yesterday morning and I heard that, I said, wow. And wow for many reasons, because first of all, you have from his own constituency, many young persons who are engaged in the plane of PAN. We have PAN against crime as well. Many persons who are involved in PAN. And of course, there are more we can do pertaining to PAN. There are many things you can do with PAN in lifting people's spirit. But clearly, to hear that from MP Fitzbramble, it's something else.
And I know Silent Hill have a vibrant summer program.
Oh yes,
playing PANs.
Oh yes,
during the school vacation.
Oh yes,
and he's expected to make a
contribution,
a contribution and an address at the graduation ceremony.
So well, the man say people ain't coming here to listen to them thing there. Yeah. But of course, persons who want to share their opinion on that particular matter, again, 4579997 or 4579994. Do you agree, Bramble? Should Carnival simply be inclusive events and Gerda, Kaiso, Calypso, Pan and Mass? I don't know. But for me, I believe we need to preserve what we have. Calypso in particular. I see we have a call coming through here. Good morning, call. Welcome to Shakeup.
Hello, good morning.
Yes, good morning.
Morning.
Pleasant good morning.
Could you please play the tune from Beckett, Carnival is Mass Music and Fun?
All right.
Please.
I did.
Please. Thank you.
No
Thank
problem.
you.
We have another call. Okay, we lost that caller. Well done. You hear that? Oh boy, I tell you. But exactly, and that's a wonderful request. But again, I mean, it's the cultural preservation is important, and Calypso in particular have been evolved over the years, and we see it still today. Persons use it to express themselves freely. That's where it starts from. From slavery, when you really couldn't say anything directly to quote unquote massa, but you be creative, and you had various gangs or groups of slaves who will sing and use the drums and all of that, and vent, and express themselves against the planter or massa. And that has evolved over the many years to where many persons use it to sing or solicit political issues. I remember in Trinidad and Tobago when you had, in particular, the tie between the Patrick Manning in 2000. You had Sugar Lows, who I think his song was pretty powerful in terms of the masses there, and the whole saga between Basdio, Pandey, you had Robinson as well, Robinson and the like. And so sometimes they used to rile up a particular mood among the general population. So again, while some may say, well, Calypso, so it's unprofitable and the like, you don't have young persons really actually gravitate towards it. It's something that's, it's part of our own Caribbean culture. It's part of who we are as well. And to see someone who sits in Parliament expressing a particular view, basically that, hey, it make no sense we engage in this type of thing, I see a comment coming in here. Someone saying, good morning, Mr. Ferdinand, and I heard, Lord, I heard on Nice Radio earlier this week, they played 2 clips from me just saying that young women can't afford to buy sanitary napkins, etc., and how he doesn't agree with PM being the leader of Latin America, how St. Vincent is going in wrong direction, especially with America words to that effect. Now this week I also read that the American ambassador in Barbados. Well, yes, that's true, and I have it here. The American ambassador to Barbados and the Eastern Caribbean. Of course, she extend congratulations to Prime Minister Gonzalez and the people of St. Vincent and Grenadines. It says here that I would like to congratulate you, and while I start off the salutation, dear Prime Minister, I would like to congratulate you on the election of St. Vincent and Grenadines as the next leader of CELAC at Buenos Aires Summit. The unanimous vote to elect an English-speaking democracy as the first Caribbean holder of CELAC's presidency pro tempore is a momentous occasion for your country and a historic opportunity for the hemisphere we share. Given the close cooperation on conflict management and security issues that our two nations enjoyed at the United Nations Security Council, as well as your pragmatic goals for St. Vincent and Grenadines and the region, it is my firm hope that our bilateral partnership will only be strengthened in the coming year. Let me take the opportunity to reiterate the commitment of the United States to continue to work with St. Vincent to promote the security, health, education, and well-being of our people. As you celebrate this important accomplishment, please be assured of our continued friendship and best wishes. And that is the United States ambassador to Barbados and the Eastern Caribbean.
Sorry, we often heard the NDP asking when St. Vincent make a decision and certain things. We always hear they ask, "What will America say?" Well, we just heard what America said in this one. We just heard what America said.
Exactly. And I mean, so I heard these similar arguments. Persons, I remember someone calling on the program last week questioning, well, what is this whole big thing about being the president of CELAC? What did we get out of the United Nations Security Council? I mean, we as a small and developing state, what do you have to lose? Yeah, what do you have to lose? And then, like I stated last week, in a globalized community, we live in a global village. It is better to be part of the decision making than to be out on the periphery, on the outskirts. Yeah, there are many things that are affecting us, and where we can lobby to press major issues so that various advanced countries can clearly sit at the table and see that we are serious about our demands and raise our voices even louder. We get things done. Correct. But again, that is the NDP for you. I'm not surprised. I won't even say, well, I didn't hear the recording. I know that is Leacock, so I didn't even question it. Because I heard some others from the NDP like, well, what is it about being president of CELAC? Some talk about ego, some talk about pride, but clearly they don't understand how things going. I see Val say here, the plane loads of people coming to SVG every year. Around June and July, what are they coming for, Mr. Bramble? So you think you could find a song? Carnival is Mass, Carnival is by Beckett. Special request
from the album.
That is a very important point here.
Yes.
Because again, for those who try to sell the idea that where mass should go is basically a lot of inclusive events making money. People are booking the flight to come to St. Vincent just to go inside inclusive events. As a matter of fact, the main reason why people book flights for around May to July period, just as how some already coming for April, is because of the particular event that is taking place.
Precisely.
Vincimas That is why they come. There are different components of Vincemas. Some will partake in some, while some will also partake in other activities. That is how it is. But they come because they expect that around this time is Vincemas.
Yes. A cultural explosion.
And Soca Monarch, Raga Soca, Calypso, Pan, inclusive events, Juve, what have you, they come. They ain't coming because, oh boy, the grey hat H2O. No. Or because it had glow in the 2 weeks, next 2 weeks. No. That is just one event, you know?
Yes.
That's just one event. So, very important question, very important statement, Val. I mean, that's why I say it's interesting, but I see we have a call coming through here. Good morning, call. Welcome to Shakeup.
Good morning, Mr. Ferdinand.
Yes, good morning.
I'm glad it's
Good morning. Good morning.
topic, but what we should ramble. Good. Let us roll back the court in a while. Go on, you remember when you used to have Carnival same time in February? People used to leave St. Vincent and go down to Trinidad Carnival. And now we bring it forward because people like Vinci Mass. So then the two festivals in class at the same time. So one in, one out. So people, and all party last year, I call and tell them when they talk about Carnival and introducing Carnival, play Beckett song. Carnival is mass and music. Carnival is free. Sparrow, Kitchener, everybody, a little boy, recommend Beckett for the song. Because nobody, no other college will ever tell you how a Carnival is. And Beckett here, we have a doctor in Calypso. Years gone by, Carnival is mass and music. I remember you talk about Lord Hawker and Summers and them kind of like Mighty Life Boy and these kind of guys was coming around. Beckett come, you know, for the California girl. I want to go back. You must play that tune, Master Victoria. 3 years straight, they beat them going and coming. And what a time that the tune just get out. So now, so when Facebook we're talking, what they coming for? You understand? Carnival is mass and music. Carnival is free. Carnival is a festival. Right now, Trinidad, passage book out. You can't get passage because tourists don't book the passage to go down for Trinidad Carnival in this month. So after that, simply all you do to St. Vincent, after all you do to St. Vincent, so Facebook what you're talking about, what they coming for. It's a festival. I know about, I used to work in Trinidad Carnival system. So in Facebook we're talking about that. You understand? You meet people, you interact, and you're feeling good. Because go on the day that George Bailey and different things. Now, they could come in, what they coming for? They come in, they come in for fun alone. They come in to expose St. Vincent. I know it is. That's why you always say, they say all school and all Calypsonians under the time, like Kitchen and Sparrow. Kitchen has beat used to sing Calypso for the penmen, for Panorama. So I always saying, time for the Calypsonian and them sing Calypso, some for Masquerade, some for Road March. And all schools and all villages supposed to have a competition, a seed band. So what it comes because the great Mr. Anthony, yeah, and the headmaster, and so we from school, they went in town. They come out from, We went to school and be them in Kingston. From them, they might look up. Pop into the talk about now. You're not saying if you ain't saying like side, that's my contribution.
All right, man.
That's a contribution.
That's up. Thank you, God. Yeah, so we found it. So we will play our special request.
In Hawaii, I had to teach them some carnival history. From the time they heard I was a West Indian, every day they would ask about carnival. I tell them there's no festival in carnival's class. And it's made up of the big three, Steve and Calypso and Mardi Gras. And I tell them, Carnival is mask and music. Carnival is calypso. Carnival is mass and Stephen. Carnival is peace. Carnival is mass with a brass band. Carnival is free. The season does start with the Calypsonians. They just make the tunes for the steel bands. From year to year they just plan their song and save them just for Carnival. I tell them about Hawk, Turkey and Shella. I tell them about Petey, Ringo and Nina. And I tell them Carnival is mass and music. Carnival is calypso. Carnival is mass and Stephen. Carnival is peace. Carnival is mass with a brass band. Carnival is free.
Yeah. Yep. Carnival is mass and music. Carnival is calypso.
Yes.
Bramble, hear that? don't pick it with me. Beckett said that, and ABC is the man in the business a long time.
Yes.
So, but yes, clearly we have to preserve our culture. And if what Bramble is saying is NDP's position, well, Lord, yeah, another reason why we have to make sure that the Unity Labour Party remains in office, because Lord have mercy, they'll turn this country upside down.
Inside out.
Oh, upside down, inside out. But yeah, you know, I see someone said Kingsley called Bramble and tell him to explain that to you. Well, I don't know. You know, I see some other comments. Yes. Slip off the tongue. Nah, there ain't no slip off the tongue. He was really into it, just as he was really into the idea of the toll booth, the toll road and the Dolphin Park, down at Lower Bayside Hill. You know, Val said, Vinci, Carnival is a combination of activities. When we come loaded to spend and enjoy everything. SVG Carnival have too much to offer. So much fun when you return to New York and you are so tired. And again, it brings me to another point. Like I said, I was in a discussion, and what the gentleman said, another difference between Trinidad and St. Vincent and Grenadines, you can get all these components for little and next to nothing. You can enjoy it for little and next to nothing, a very cheap price. So, Bramble, if you believe that we don't need calypso, we don't need pan, we don't need mass, well, why? Yeah, I would want you to explain that to the many young people in Sand Hill who play pan, and tell them what they're doing and really what listed to. Yeah, you go and explain that to them. What else for this week? Well, of course, we touch on CELAC. Again, another important, another big leap for St. Vincent and Grenadines. Exposure, of course, will be further placed on the map. I told a particular individual last week when he asked about United Nations Security Council, I said it is my belief that because of that particular seat we had, Charlie would recall many persons who stood in the line to collect cash grants at Western Union.
Correct.
And some persons didn't know this, but those monies came directly
from the
United Nations Fund that was established. Same thing with the food distribution that was done by World Food Program. Their logistical and the entire operation was funded through that United Nations Fund set up for St. Vincent and the Grenadines. So when persons ask, well, what are some of the benefits? Well, right there.
So
through our most difficult time, the United Nations came through.
Yes.
In assisting St. Vincent and Grenadines. Similarly, I recall during 2008, 2011, when St. Vincent and Grenadines were in a difficult time, the economic crisis, Petrocarib came through for us. We had subsidized fuel. We also had, in terms of concessional loan financing for a lot of projects and initiatives. And now we are part of CELAC. And as the president, we're not only part of CELAC, but now we hold the presidency.
Yes.
A grouping of 650 million people, $7 trillion economy, very diverse. Clearly, there are many opportunities to be explored. Again, in times of difficulty, I'm quite sure that we can count on our allies in Latin America and Caribbean as we've done before. So when I see some persons, including, what the gentleman Silicok said, what I hear and see, even on social media, some persons talking about a whole lot of foolishness, pride, ego, this, that, the other. Trust me, it's very important, it's very significant as to what we continue to do in lifting St. Vincent and the Grenadines even higher. Well, Charlo, we just briefly touch on tourism. Again, you of course would see what's happening across St. Vincent and Grenadines. There's a lot of construction taking place.
Yes.
I wish I had a trucking business although. Yeah, but I wish I had a trucking business, man. Truckers eating plenty food.
Yes.
There's a lot of construction work going on across St. Vincent and the Grenadines. You see, and I see a good brother just say tune in there. There's also where you have West, this, where call that place before, a night place where you could go and hang out and chill, right? A little bit down after the College Gap, when it's on the corner. They do car wash there still, but you see significant amount of renovative work being done there. There's also significant amount of work being done at Diamond Estate.
Yes.
With the Holiday Inn Express.
Construction.
I remember I visited Diamond Grocery and saw them using floodlights to basically do significant amount of work also at night because of the pace that they're going with that project. You also have work being done still at Royal Mill. There are some workers up there who have work being done as well. Maya, they're doing up some final touches. They're already advertising various jobs from management level all the way to bartender, chef and the like. We see also some work being done at Bokumet in terms of Sandals Beaches. I understand there's over 250 local construction workers. Remember, Oh boy, talking about that. How many persons remember when the leader of the opposition actually in a live broadcast before the nation talked about we have more foreigners working. He said Dominican forces from Dominican Republic working at Sandals Beaches than locals. He actually brought that in a live address to the nation. I could never forget that. But we actually have 250 local construction workers there. I actually spoke to one when I was at my barber shop, and he's saying there's a lot of work that they're doing and that the company really and truly want to meet that deadline of end of year. And more than likely you'll see between now and even April, more workers taken on because of that. So again, that is, I mentioned last week and even yesterday and many times, oftentimes you hear the NDPC one thing, it doesn't mix with reality. It's far from reality, but so far 250 there about local construction workers there. As well in that same area, Bokument, you have more work being done at what we knew as Emerald Valley Casino. They're doing significant amount of work also at that site. The fisheries center in Barley, there's significant amount of work also being done there in terms of construction. Similarly to, as I mentioned before, Beckway community, you have Mary Hutchinson. I mean, there's so much that is happening as well. The Fort Charlotte project, that's done for this year. And that Fort Charlotte project would also include the bridge as well, going to Fort Charlotte.
Bridge.
And I want persons to know that the road from Edinburgh, basically from the cemetery all the way up, that's also slated to be done. So there's a lot of uptick in activity. We see many new businesses that are being established that are popping up. You have in Annesville, you have in Villa, you even have in Bookament itself, and trust me, as Sandals beaches completed and as you have more traffic in terms of movement of people, you're going to have more businesses in that area. I mean, you have Baystones, yes, there's also some other establishments along that side. No doubt you'll see more popping up. And I remember in Bookament as well, not too far from where Sticky Graves is, the Football Federation also, they have their own facility to build in Bookament area. So, you know, the Prime Minister book, Time of Respect, man, the Time of Respect taking place. Given what we went through as a people, pandemic and the last of eruptions, Time of Respect surely taking place. Also, Charlo, like I said this morning, you see many persons going up to cruise ship berth, many taxi and tour operators, and 326,000 visitors for this year. We already seen the uptick. We see there are more cruise ships in harbor than we used to. Even in St. Vincent and Grenadines itself, because while they have two in Port Kingston, 2 or 3, you have one in Beckway.
Yes.
You know, and therefore, clearly we have a lot to offer, and that is why people are coming. The Minister of Finance mentioned in his address that we ought to look out for another, another offer, more or less, or in terms of flight arrivals to St. Vincent and Grenadines, another announcement.
Right.
And I have no doubt about that, because trust me, as Sandals beaches becomes open, and you'll have, as the Minister of Finance mentioned, at least based on what Sandals company, what they're looking at, and of course they do their own marketing and the like, 1,500 people a week, that's a significant amount of movement.
That's not bad at all.
And once you have that uptick in demand for persons coming to St. Vincent and Grenadines, and we have to remember this, the people who stay at resorts and hotels, they don't necessarily come by cruise. Yeah, they come by flight.
Yes.
You know, so clearly where you have that significant uptick in terms of visitors, and not just visitors, but stopover visitors, persons staying here for a week or 4 or 5 days or even 2 weeks or even sometimes as far as a month, clearly we'll expect more flights. And that again, I believe, ties into American Airlines announcement as well, based on their own market research and analysis, that because of the uptick in terms of what is seen with Sandals Beaches, Maya, the government's announcement with Marriott, Diamond Holiday Inn Express, that clearly you're going to have more demand in terms of seats, and therefore the twice a week we got it. So clearly, with that significant amount of persons coming, they're increasing flights to daily now. And of course, once you have daily flights, my friend Kingsley and other taxi operators, gonna get in on the action,
Yes, and I think-
and of course make more money as well. And once you have more stay over visitors, you of course have to use automated teller machines, or even the bank itself directly. They have to eat. And that is why I mentioned yesterday that we have to position ourselves, the farmers, the fisher folks, for the opportunities that are being created because of that uptick in demand. And you see some movements there. You know, there are persons who are changing the mode of operation, even in farming. And fishing as well. There are persons who are also, they've applied for credit from KCCU because of the partial guarantee arrangement that we have. I see Garn say that Vinci have lots to offer. We have black and white sand beaches and 32 islands, great hiking ranges, plenty waterfalls, and on and on. All those other islands have over us its size, and the rate at which is going another 15 years, St. Vincent and Grenadines will surpass those islands. Once we continue to do things right, I have no doubt about that in positioning ourselves for the opportunities are created. Talking about that, Charlo, I don't know if you had the opportunity to listen to a particular video. Two ladies, of course, abroad, talking about St. Vincent and Grenadines.
I am only person responsible for sharing this, sending this all over the place. Yes.
Well. So we owe you a little something there.
Definitely.
But that also helps in the marketing of St. Vincent and Grenadines, and so we'll just pray that for persons to hear, because that is also trending. That was also trending this week. Yeah.
Okay, moving right along, we are going to the Grenadines, which is a great place to travel. Tell us about that location.
So SVG, as they call it, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, voted number 3 in the world destination by Condé Nast Travel magazine.
Okay.
Or their readers, should I say.
Yeah.
And it is just one of the most authentic places in the Caribbean to travel to. It is a group of 32 islands, and it's a really fantastic place if you like chartering a boat. And a large family or extended family, you want to charter a boat, you can take it straight out and then go around these little islands. But if you want to stay there, there's all-inclusives, there's non-all-inclusives, there's places like whole islands like Petite St. Vincent, which is just divine. But guess what? I found some prices, $285 per night per room.
Okay.
Really good value.
I've never been to St. Vincent, but I have dated a Vincentian. He was a very nice man.
Was it good?
Yeah, very nice man.
Very nice.
Still in touch with him.
It's a nice place to go, but it's got direct flights twice weekly at this time of year.
Okay.
And it's seasonal, but at this time of year in the wintertime, twice weekly. So it's easy to get there. So really a great opportunity for you to discover more authentic Caribbean.
I like that you said it that way, because it is true. It's not, it's maybe it's not as traveled as much, right? So I mean, you're going to get more of that authentic experience.
Yeah,
Correct.
So we'll take the break, and then of course we'll talk about this video.
The flavor nice, it's locally made. Affordable price, Lord, up to $3 retail. Where see we line, when you got a white, yes, show me what you like. It's cigarette from Empire, Holdings Limited. It's cigarette from Empire, Holdings Limited. With over 60 years experience, hold the best tobacco, best ingredients. Yeah. This is your boy Lou to say, support local, buy your cigarettes from Empire Holdings Limited. 10 cigarettes in a pack for up to $3 retail. Remember, smoking is not for minors.
On Friday, February 3rd, there'll be thousands of dollars to be won. A lotto jackpot of $215,000. A new home, car, or that college education.
Lotto, you have to be in it to win it.
Next lotto jackpot, $215,000.
That
you, and that could have been avoided because your tires had almost no grip on the road. Safety is a factor that should never be overlooked when it comes to your car or whatever you drive. SVG Tire Sales and Services in Falls Avenue and in Arnisvale carries a wide selection of quality new tires to fit any car, truck, minibus, or SUV, so you can experience a comfortable and safe commute every time. We are agents for the world's most reliable brands on and off the road, including Kenda Tires, the king of the mountain, Cooper Tires, king of the road and track, Osto, the king of the outback, and High Fly, the king of the Asian highway. We also carry new tires for light or heavy-duty trucks from MRF, High Fly, and Linglong. A reliable set of new tires keep you, your passengers, and your payload always in the safe lane. So when you need quality tires with reliability at 100%, choose SVG Tire Sales and Services in Kingstown, 457-1467, or in Arnisvale, 456-6444. SVG Tire Sales and Services. Performance and reliability proven when the rubber meets the road.
Brick by brick, piece by piece, building with technology, helping wealth increase. Starting small, building the future, doing more every day, doing more together. BOSVG, the bank we count on. BOSVG. Our one bank together, we're strong. Our nation's bank, standing long and proud. One bank, one voice, singing loud. BOSVG. Hey, building our future. BOSVG. Doing more together.
BOSVG. Doing more together.
Right off the Leeward Highway on the Old Bookama Road is where you would find Pinchers Transport and Blocks and Hardware, a one-stop shop for all your building and construction needs, from foundation to roof. They offer building materials, sand, Rabica, cement, and stone, 4, 6, and 8-inch blocks, backhoe rental and trucking service. Their hardware section offers electrical and plumbing fittings, carpentry and farming tools and materials, automotive and repair, home care cleaning and DIY repairs, all under one roof. Call 458-7591 or 533-1576. Visit Mondays to Fridays from 7:30 a.m. to 6 p.m., Saturdays 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. and Sundays 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. Pinchers Transport Blocks and Hardware, where quality meets price. No project too small. Here to serve you.
99.9, the heart and soul of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. WEFM is SVG.
So yes, we are back in studio of WEFM. I am your host, Augustine Ferdinand, and in studio with me is Charlo. Let's take this call. Good morning, caller. Yeah. Yes, good morning, caller. Welcome to Shakeup.
Good morning, good morning.
Yes, good morning,
my brother. Good morning.
What's up, Charlo?
Just taking things.
Yeah, man.
That video, he said it's a video?
Yes.
Yes.
That should be on the national television every night. Every night. And it should be played on the radio regularly. Because the first time hearing it,
You're proud of where Bramley? You're proud of where Bramley sit too?
I think it's celebrate. You know? That's a celebration. Listen to them fellas. But that is beautiful, my son.
Yeah, man.
And we got to get that on the television.
How some citizens has nothing to offer?
Don't bother with them, man. Don't bother with them. And this is a paradise. Paradise. Especially with people who love that kind of thing. These beaches and the part of the ecotourism part of it. It's just we got to develop some of the sites a little bit more. We can't do everything one time. Take time to and find the belly, is it?
That's so true.
That's what the European people used to say, isn't it?
Yes, man.
And Rome wasn't built in a day. We know from our Rome, you can't get everything one time. I mean, even the rich countries can do that. Anyway, I go on, guys.
Yeah, man, blessings.
Thanks for your contribution.
Well, for those who want to contribute, 4579997, 4579997, and you can call us on the WhatsApp number 4579994. That's 4579994. So let's play the recording again.
Okay, moving right along, we are going to the Grenadines, which is a great place to travel. Tell us about that location.
So SVG, as they call it, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, voted number 3 world destination by Condé Nast Travel magazine.
Okay.
Or their readers, should I say?
Yeah.
And it is just one of the most authentic places in the Caribbean to travel to. It is a group of 32 islands, and it's a really fantastic place if you like chartering a boat. And large family or extended family, you want to charter a boat, you can take it straight out and then go around these little islands. But if you want to stay there, there's all-inclusives, there's non-all-inclusives, there's places like whole islands like Petite St. Vincent, which is just divine. But guess what? I found some prices, $285 per night per room.
Okay.
Really good value.
I've never been to St. Vincent, but I have dated a Vincentian. He was a very nice man.
Was he good?
Yeah, very nice man.
Nice.
Still in touch with him.
It's a nice place to go, but it's got direct flights twice weekly at this time of year.
Okay.
And it's seasonal, but at this time of year in the wintertime, twice weekly. So it's easy to get there. So really a great opportunity for you to discover more authentic Caribbean.
I like that you said it that way because it is true. It's not as traveled as much, right? So I mean, you're going to get more of that authentic experience.
Yes. Let's take this call. We have a call. Good morning, call. Welcome to Shakeup.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning, Robertson.
Blessed 2023 to everyone at WEFM and the listenership.
Yes.
Gentlemen, sort of a bittersweet start to the year. We have had a few, but in the same vein, St. Vincent and the Grenadines has once again put its hand up on behalf of its people and by extension the people of the small island development state to be voted in as pro tempore president of politically that in the statements in the press conference when he came in, statements afterwards, that in a nutshell, his aim is to bring the person bunch, if I may use that word, advisedly themselves.
Last of the Mohicans.
Whether some, sorry?
Last of the Mohicans.
In fact, remember, Well, when Dr. Gonzalez left for I congratulate and let us work to push this.
Yes, man.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank
Henry.
you. Thank you very much for your contribution. Yes. But you know, one of the things that was stated inside the video is the mere fact that you can get direct flights to St. Vincent and the Grenadines.
Yes.
Very important, that you can get direct flight twice weekly. Get those flights twice weekly from the international community to come to St. Vincent and Grenadines. Let's take this call. Good morning, call. Welcome to Shakeup.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. Glad to get on the program. Nice
Good morning.
program, sir.
Good morning.
Nice program.
Thank you.
Hello, you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear.
Yeah, I'm from Myra, but I'm not living in Myra right now. You hear me?
Yes. You go ahead. You go ahead.
Yeah, and I want to see before Dr. Ralph Gonzalez leave office or whatever he told me in politics that he tried to get Solomons to be hotel up and running, man. That's a nice hotel just lying down there. If any government can get somebody can go and help to build a hotel like Sanders, to make hotel in St. Vincent, that would be nice to boost up Myra and St. Vincent and Grenadines tourism. It's something lying down there, no, pardon. I just lay down there. The last owner of them leave a day, and I don't live there, but I know because I follow up a lot of stuff home.
Okay,
You feel me?
that's the only contribution.
No, but it's
Oh,
about tourism, and I mean,
okay.
that's something that if you go to Mairo, Mairo is one of the best nice beaches. I want to see you could follow up on that. I mean,
Yes.
Sanders always take hotels that would have to build up, like we're doing Grenada, in other countries, St. Vincent, like we're doing in Buckerman. You know, if that hotel get going, Taurus Bay, hey, that would be a very good hotel, no?
See your point.
Yes. It's a very lovely beach too. Everything ties into it.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a nice hotel, man. I'm very passionate about the hotel. I'm very passionate about the hotel. I mean, it's lying down there. We're talking about tourism. How can you talk about tourism when you have a hotel like that? One of the best beach in the world. People have been to South Bay and all want to go there. I mean, it's not government hotel, but government gets everyone in the whole Grenadians do, you know.
All right then.
I don't know if I make any sense like
Yes,
telling you that, but it's something is really I mean, you know, so nice
Okay, then.
program, man. I'll listen to you off, you know, something you can always talk and talk.
Yes,
You part of this system and you more piece of this system, so you can always push things, you know. So
All right then, no problem. Thank you for your
have a
contribution.
good day, brother.
You too.
Have a good day.
Yes,
Yes, man.
enjoy the weekend.
One of the things is that we have there's a particular issue. I think it's in Union. I don't know if you follow with the lands and stuff. Some persons in Union Island wasn't pleased with how certain lands were acquired. In all these things, you always have to, just as what we did with Bukument, you always have to be careful in acquiring certain properties. Of course, if you have willing investors who would like to get involved, that's no problem, you know. But surely, even nearby my road, you've had a lot of significant amount of investments, even in terms of hotel, and that also was spurred on by the Canouan Jet Airport because of where you can have direct flights, etc., as well, even in medium-sized aircraft. And then you have the marina itself at Glossy Bay, where persons who have the various yachts can come and just walk on and then get something to eat, etc. But there's always room, of course, for further development in terms of hotels, whether small or large size. With the discussion putting into tourism, one of the things I disagree with the caller, though, you say, well, how can you talk about tourism and have that there? Well, you can still talk about tourism because, like I mentioned before, there's a significant amount of movement taking place and work taking place in terms of hotel development, like we see in Diamond, like we see in Bokoment, like we will see in terms of Mount Twin, like we are seeing also with Maya and also with Royal Mill. You know, and there's even expansion with local hoteliers. There's also the Lyman in Beckwith. There are other hotels also in Beckwith as well. Not too long ago, we had Mandarin Oriental in Canouan. We had the Sandy Lane Yacht Club also. So we can talk about tourism while all these things went on. And one of the things you mentioned, Charlo, of course, that's very critical in building the tourism product, is the various sites. You know, because persons are coming and of course they want to go places, they want to sightsee, etc. But let's take this other call. Good morning, call. Welcome to Shakeup.
I just asking if Palm Island still exists.
Oh yes, it does.
Very much so.
Yes, it does.
Because I suddenly realized I hearing them all about the Grenadies, but somehow never I mentioned the Palm Island or that other one that used to be.
Yes, it is.
Another one that used to be somewhere by Union Island, Petty something or the other.
Union Island, Petty St. Vincent.
Petty St. Vincent. Yes.
The last island.
Well, yes, but that still exists.
And visited too.
Yes.
Oh yes, man. Visited too. Those are gems. But again, we're talking about also the sites, various sites. We mentioned Fort Charlotte earlier. I know that the some work was done on the Villa Boardwalk, and there's more work to be done there. Persons would say that when they go to Villa Beach, there's a large facility there, and that is also for use. You have the Shakeup Park to have further work or upgrades on it.
Yes.
Over Salt Pond as well, because again, because of the eruptions, you had some problems there, and there's work, restorative work to be done on that. I think yesterday someone calling on the program asking about Last Friday Trail. Yes, they started. There's some clearing of the trail, and persons actually do traverse all the way up, but there's also work to be done on that, including Bamboo Range. And most important, and I think many persons are looking forward to this in Central Leeward, the Jackson Bay Beautification Project.
Yes.
Which, of course, where you're going to have Marriott and the like, you have a lot of development, even in terms of road, to take place in that particular vicinity of Central Leeward. And like I mentioned, Fort Charlotte, you also have some road work to be done leading to Sandals Resort in Bookament. We have a few waterfalls here and there as well. One thing I like about persons who are visiting even places even more is the mere fact that they're highlighting various waterfalls that I think are hidden.
Yes.
And of course, I'm quite sure that the Ministry of Tourism looking at these particular areas. I want to thank Echo for doing a fantastic job at River 14.
Yes.
It's a go-to place for many persons. And there's not too far, I actually saw a video of a particular business place not too far from there as well, near to the river. But let's take this call. Good morning, call. Welcome to Shakeup.
Hello, son. Good morning, gentlemen.
Good
morning.
How are you both? Okay?
Yeah, that's right. Everything's all right.
Yeah, nice one. Mr. Ferdinand.
Greetings.
As a North Leeward man, what are you?
Knowledge of the geography of the area.
Yes.
As a matter of fact, I would say maybe take them a little bit further on from the police station. Because when you go right wrong, the scenery, the vegetation, the cool temperature, you hear birds. I mean, it's like being close to heaven.
Natural place to be.
Yeah.
Well, the only
Minister of Tourism, who is also the MP for the area. One of the things, because I know there's the topic or the discussion, Charlo, about places for water sports. And we have to explore. Persons think it's easy as 1, 2, 3. Now we could just tell people, well, hey, go do jet skiing here and jet skiing there and all the like. But
and I mean that waterfall in particular.
Minister mentioned even at Shakeup Bay, which is a nice. Maybe just for an example, maybe to explore that particular area for even water sport. I can tell you that at Coles Hill, there's a lookout that is there erected by some persons where you overlook Cumberland area.
Cumberland, yes.
Westwood Coastal area. So there's that, and there are also other ideas that are coming to fore where you may have a camping site for persons who want to set up tent and just have that outside experience also in North.
I heard an excerpt yesterday in respect of the Cumberland Native Trail.
Yes.
That is back up at
Yes, that as well.
Yes.
And we of course have at Cumberland itself, the recreational site next to the
Yes.
And I know
about some of it.
all of that. If you're interested in greenery and nature, it's a wonderful constituency for that.
Yes. I mean, there are my
But blessings. But yeah, very good suggestions there. And like I said, I did talk about Chomoka Bottom. And one thing with Chomoka Bottom, it's one of those areas you walk in the water and you can literally see your toes in the water.
Clear.
Literally, you outside of the water. Yeah, Chomoka Bottom. So yeah, a lot of work and ideas on the floor. Of course, you have the MP talk about administrative building, but in the meantime, I think the bank is up and going in Chateaubriand. There's also the technical facility for skills training as well. So there are a lot of work being done, and like I said, we have to continue to capitalize on the opportunities that the government is creating in the economy of St. Vincent and Grenadines, not only in terms of jobs, but even in terms of skills training and the like. So, Chalo, before we leave, anything you want to say?
Yeah, just to say, last Friday I attended the NIS consultation reform program. And this is where they had a conversation with pensioners to let pensioners know that how things are going with the NIS. And so we had a social dialogue, open and honest conversation on social security. I think the director did a tremendous job. He had a lot of questions and he answered everyone honestly.
Wonderful.
Yes, well, I was expecting to see Kingsley there really, but probably a tour ship was in, so he was making some money. And Kingsley is a man also with the NIS. I know he's a contributor, but I would love to see him there really. But the pensioners had a good conversation with NIS, and I'm looking forward for further conversation.
Yes. I did talk to the director, and he said that they're going to have an outreach with bosses and things.
Yes.
It was very good. So thank you, one and all, for joining and interacting with us on the program. And with that, we wish you a safe and pleasant afternoon and a wonderful weekend.
The flavor nice, it's loaded, affordable price, Lord, dollars retail. When you see